Get 2 packs of Bic Brightliners or something else with these colors. You want 2 because dyeing highlighters suck, they feel bad to use, and they'll make you want to stop reading. So you want the replacement on hand. You're also going to want a few gray highlighters. This is a Zebra mild liner. They come in a load of colors and they're great. If the fluorescent tone of other highlighters bothers you, this line is a great solution. If you can get a stapler like this one for stapling in hard to reach spots, it can be really helpful. Acrobat has a feature called Print as Booklet that'll turn a stack of loose sheets into a much more convenient zine. Finally, ballpoint pens suck, but rollerballs smudge and fountain pens bleed on shitty paper, so I recommend the Zebra F301 for writing on printer paper and in books. Get multiple. These are your primary colors. We'll come back to the other two. Yellow is for key ideas, the clearest, specific articulations of the argument that a text is making. Expect to use this a lot in academic writing, less in fiction, literature, etc. Blue is for what resonates with you, stuff you find moving or want to talk about. This will be your #1 highlighter for literature and personal reading. Pink is for references. Use it to draw a box around every inline citation and to highlight or underline when the author is quoting or paraphrasing somebody else. Orange and green are your secondary colors. I think of orange as being for what the teacher expects me to highlight, although it's a bit vaguer now that I'm not in school. Stuff that I don't really care about, but I know, strictly speaking, is important in the text. Green is sort of the low-key version of blue. I wanted to highlight this, but not because it's the most important thing. The great thing about using these colors is you can make them by mixing the other ones. Accidentally went too far with the yellow? Knock it down to orange with the pink highlighter, or green with the blue one. If you thought the author was paraphrasing, but realized they actually drifted into their own thoughts partway through, you can kick it back to orange using yellow. And if you did something in blue that you realized didn't mean the resonating thing you thought it meant, kick it back to green. Finally, if something was so important to you that you highlighted it in blue, but it turns out it's actually paraphrased from another text, add pink to get Forbidden Lilac, which means the cited text is probably something I want to read. Finally, highlighters work as a kind of rolling bookmark as you move through the text, but what if you hit a big chunk that just doesn't matter? You hit a section where your eyes glaze over and eventually you give up, only to come back and start at exactly the same pointless section that made you walk away. The solution? Gray highlighter. Using a gray highlighter provides 3 great advantages. 1, it helps you keep that rolling bookmark so you don't wind up giving the most attention to the least important parts of the text. 2, actually deciding to gray something out will make you think more carefully about whether it's really unimportant, which means you'll sometimes notice that it wasn't that the text got boring, it's that you were losing focus. This means that those moments are an opportunity to discover things you would have missed. And 3, taking out your frustration on the text itself while you're reading it makes it easier to let go of that frustration, which means you're not still carrying that when you move on to the rest of the text, and you can engage later arguments more on their own terms. All these highlighter ideas are what work for me. And there's a lot of other little details I could give you if people are into this content. I've also got a ton else to say about working with academic texts that's coming pretty much no matter what. But most importantly, do what works for you. My mom has told me that when she highlights, she finds that her brain naturally skips over the stuff that's already highlighted, meaning that when she goes to review, she winds up skipping all the important stuff. If that's what highlighting is like for you, maybe you should just go through and only highlight the stuff that's less important, leaving the vital details unmarked. Sure, you'll probably go through more highlighters that way, but don't force yourself to use a study technique that doesn't work just because it would be cheaper if it did. The cost, in terms of extra effort, added stress, and reduced quality of learning, outweighs the extra $15 a semester you'd save on highlighters. Also, effective highlighting is a skill. If you try to adopt all these techniques right now, you'll probably suck a little bit at it. But as you do it, you'll get better, and your past readings will become more and more useful reference documents for your future work.